All right. Let's talk about the B side of her argument, of Anna March's argument in the article that says, bye bye, Bernie. He's not fit to be captain of the Democratic ship if he can't stop chasing the great white male. The B side of her argument is that Bernie Sanders completely brushes off identity politics. And she said that in regards to economic populism and what we are, this is directly from her article. She says, quote, economic populism and what are commonly erroneously and dismissively referred to as social issues, such as reproductive rights, immigration reform, and civil rights for people of color, those who have disabilities and people of all faith, are indivisible. Sanders routinely demonstrates his own lack of progressive values by dividing them. And I just want to highlight the comment that I put here. You're not going to be able to see it, but that's bullshit, Anna. Bullshit. Bernie Sanders has routinely. Why the hell do we even have to have this conversation anymore? The primaries are over. The election is over. Donald Trump is the president. Why are you even bringing this up? I love it when people say progressives need to move on. I would be glad to never have this conversation again, but you have neoliberal shills who can't help but to put out this crap on a regular basis, week in and week out. I would love to never have to relitigate the 2016 primaries or elections ever again. But if people keep putting out things that are disingenuous, hypocritical, and factually untrue, and logically untrue, or logically inconsistent, then I have no choice but to respond. So here's her second. This is her second argument, that Bernie Sanders divides economics from identity. Now, I don't have to give this caveat, but I will. Bernie Sanders is so stuck in his ways and has the same speech that he's been doing for the last 30 years that he has not refined his language, but he has clearly demonstrated time and again, rally after rally, conversation after conversation, email after email, press release after press release, that he understands the necessity of communicating the issue of economics and race simultaneously. The irony of this particular portion of her argument, which has been parroted and recycled by everyone from the Wall Street, from not the Wall Street Journal, but the Washington Post, all the way down to Salon.com. The problem with it is that the irony, rather, is that these are the very people who do not want us to talk about the intersection of economics and race. They want us to talk about race. They want us to talk about identity. They want us to talk about all those things. But the minute we decide to talk about economics, we're talking about issues that are not important to race. Case in point, Hillary Clinton in the election saying, if we break up all the banks today, will that fix racism? First of all, this is fallacious at best, right? But a humongous red herring to deflect and to move the conversation off the original target. However, it misses. It's two things simultaneously. It misses the inherent connection, the interconnectivity between race and economics that exists in the United States from the inception of this country. That's number one. But number two, it's an intentional deflection to keep us from ever talking about the intersectionality of economics and the way that economics plays in every bit of racism that we've had in the United States from the beginning, the way economics plays into the decision to have an abortion or not. The reason that people, one of the number one reasons, according to the Guttmacher Institute, that women get abortions, and it blew me away, was because just economics, they can't afford it. It's not because there's some type of, and this is ridiculous coming from Republican talking points, that there's just some type of, debauchery and irresponsible women. Sometimes these are married women who cannot afford to have a child. And so they seek after an abortion. So even on the issue of a woman's right to choose, economics plays a tremendous part in it. And this is the factor that has been missing from the conversation for so long. We will talk about race, but we will not talk about how race is inextricably tied to economics in the United States. We'll talk about abortion rights, but we will not talk about the fact that the number one reason, according to the Guttmacher Institute, that women get abortion is because of economic instability. And so Bernie Sanders has been, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired of having to even say Bernie Sanders' name, because I'm tired of having to demonstrate this point time and time again. This should be settled. Let it forever be settled after this, which it won't be, but damn it, I'll try. Bernie Sanders has brought into the conversation for the first time in a long time the relevancy of economics to race, to abortion rights, to LGBTQ rights, to every intersection that we're concerned about. The intersection that has been erased for at least the last 30 years of the Democratic Party has been class. That's what they don't want to talk about, because you cannot talk about that without talking about the relationship between Wall Street and, to be so cliche, Main Street. But just in case you don't want to take my word for it, a random cursory Google of Bernie Sanders and race will yield a result like a video like this.
But let us be very clear. While we have overcome a lot of racism, we have come a long way, we still have a long way to go. It is not acceptable to me, and I know to you, that an African-American baby, a male baby born today, if we do not change things, stands a 1 in 4 chance of being in prison during his life. It is not acceptable to me that we have seen young black men walk down streets in this country, be beaten and be killed unjustly. That is not acceptable.
That's just a random Googling of Bernie Sanders on race. At this point, there's no reason for me to even try to logically argue this, because they don't want to accept this. This is all it is. This is a concerted effort by people who either have a grudge against Bernie Sanders or people who are paid to have a grudge against Bernie Sanders to continuously try to divide the titular head of the Democratic Party. For all intents and purposes, he's the head of the Democratic Party. They're trying to remove him from his throne.